claim that the Prophet ﷺ was anti-Semitic, or that Islam discriminated against the Jews, or that the Prophet ﷺ discriminated against the Jews, honestly, this claim is so shallow that no serious person can say this. And all you need to do is look at Islamic history. All you need to do is look at Islamic history. That up until the creation of Israel in 1947, up until the creation of Israel, there were large pockets of Jews living in many Muslim lands in complete peace and harmony. The Jews of Iraq, the Jews of Tunisia, the Jews of Morocco, the Jews of Yemen. And it is true to say that every time the Jews were persecuted in Christian lands, every time they were expelled in Christian lands, they always found safe refuge in Muslim lands. This is historically absolutely true. From the time of the Umayyads, the Abbasids, up until the expulsion from Spain. How did Jews end up in Morocco? When they were expelled from Spain, they went to Morocco, right? By the tens of thousands, shiploads. The Sultan literally sent his ships for them. Come, ta'al, we want you. There was no sense of animosity and hatred. And it is so true to say that almost all of the animosity and hatred now is because of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. That in pre-Israel, before the creation of Israel, the Jews living in Muslim lands lived in harmony with their Muslim neighbors. And frankly, Muslims and Jews have more in common than Muslims and Christians and Jews and Christians. Muslims and Jews have more in common when it comes to how they interact and their laws and the Sharia and the Halakha. Halakha literally means Sharia. Halakha means the way. Halakha means the path. Sharia means the path. The Yahud have a Halakha. The Muslims have a Sharia. And it overlaps in 70% of its laws. Right? So, all you need to look at historically is the most important Jewish figures throughout Islamic centuries have always been Jews living in Islamic lands, right? Starting from in Baghdad in the 7th century, the greatest Jewish thinker that had the most profound impact in medieval Judaism, his name was Sa'adiya Gaon. Sa'adiya Gaon in Baghdad, he's one of the greatest thinkers. He's a Baghdadi, he's writing in Arabic. He's born and raised in an Arab environment. And of course, the single greatest thinker of Judaism without any doubt, the one greatest mind of Judaism that all Jews look up to. Who is he? Spanish what? Musa ibn Maymun, Moses Maimonides. They call him Rambam. Rambam is their title for him, like Shaykhul Islam or something. So Moses Maimonides is the greatest Jewish mind ever. And to him they owe their creed, their most basic law books, their most important commentaries. It's literally one man. Moses, now this is a whole different tangent here. I don't even know if I should get into this now. But there is a recent book that came out on Amazon, you'll find it, by one of the leading experts, who actually claimed that Musa ibn Maymun, or Moses Maimonides, was a practicing Muslim, meaning he embraced Islam as a way of life. Why? Because in his youth, and this is true, he actually studied in the madrasas. And he studied as a Muslim, meaning he dressed like Muslims, he prayed with them, like, because that was how he grew up. Now, of course, ethnically he's Jewish, right? But he grew up in the Islamic environment of Andalusia. And the greatest universities were by Muslims, and the greatest libraries. So he basically entered the culture of Islam. And this is true. And that's why almost all of his books, his greatest books, are in Arabic. He's writing Jewish books in Arabic, by the way, right? And these had to be translated into modern Hebrew. He didn't write it in any language other than Arabic. Why? Because again, this is the lingua franca, this is the main language of the time. This is the most scientific, the most advanced. And he then migrated to Egypt. And in Egypt, he became the personal doctor. He was a doctor as well. In those days, philosophers, doctors, botanists, zoologists, they were all in one, basically. It was all one. He became the personal doctor to Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi. That because he was so, and so obviously in this position, his fame increased even more in Egypt, right? And he became the grand rabbi as well of Egypt, So this author theorized that in Andalusia he remained a Muslim. When he came to Egypt, he then returned to Judaism. Now, whether he was actually Muslim or not is besides the point. For sure, for a period of time, he lived as a Muslim. That is a historic fact, right? That he basically entered their culture for a period of time. Now, my point being, who can argue that Islam discriminated against Jews? Knowing some of these facts, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, and of course the most obvious point, how can Islam be anti-Semite when the Arabs are Semites? I mean, that's just, the term is meaningless, really. The term is meaningless. You cannot be an anti-Semite if you are the children of Ibrahim, because the descendants of Ibrahim are Semites. So the Arabs are Semites and the Jews are Semites. It's not possible for an Arab to be anti-Semitic. An Arab can be anti-Jewish, yes, but he cannot be anti-Semitic.